All right, just connecting right now. Hey guys, just want to do a mic check. If you guys can hear me, please just message yes on the YouTube chat. All right, perfect. Yeah, you're good to go, guys.
All right, perfect. So, welcome everyone to Recognizing Shorting Opportunities. My name is Dry Martini. I'm just gonna go over some things, and the primary thing that we're gonna go over today is shorting. Obviously, Laura's gonna be covering that. But before we take a deep dive into that, we're gonna go over the disclaimer first. So, just to go over the disclaimer, statements by United Traders or its members are opinions and not investment advice. UT is not responsible for any investment decisions made using the information provided. Improvements are not guaranteed. This material does not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situations, or needs, and is not intended as recommendations appropriate for you. You must make an independent decision regarding investments or strategies mentioned on UT. With that being said, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Laura. So, as you know, Laura is a seasoned veteran in UT. She is a little bit background information about her. She is a chemical engineer. She was a successful business owner since 2003. She's won multiple awards for teaching physics to university level students. She started trading in 2008, known for making difficult concepts in TA easy. She's joined UT in 2017 when she became a full-time trader, and she lives in Arizona. And you guys know most of this already about her. She is a regular teacher at UT. So with that being said, Laura, I'm handing the mic over to you.
Okay, thank you. Today I'm going to go over recognizing shorting opportunities. Now, I noticed that this was kind of needed. I kind of don't always talk in chat, but I do listen to what people say. And I noticed that a lot of people say they don't short, or hardly any people say, they short. And there's, reasons for that. I'm sure a lot of people don't like shorting. And I'm going to go through some of the downfalls before talking about the opportunities. So obviously shorting comes with risks, and maybe this is why people don't do this. So there's limited upside and possibly unlimited downside. Everybody knows that. There's borrow fees and interest fees. And your account has to be a margin account. And you can't really have a small account. So that's one of the things that, a lot of people are, stopped by. But once you start growing your account, once you're able to be on margin, you can do a lot of shorting, and you could actually, make quite a bit of money on this. So here's a couple more things. What is short selling? So let me just go through this real quick. I mean, I don't want to spend a lot of time on the basics here because we're going to get to a lot of examples later today. But I do want to explain what this is for even the people. We do have a lot of new traders. So when you sell a stock today, you have hopes that in the future you can buy it back at a lower price. And since you don't own any shares, you have to borrow them from a broker. And so when you borrow them from the broker, he or she could be taking them from somebody else's portfolio or getting them in other ways. So you will be basically borrowing them from someone else. When I talk about cover means you buy the stock. And that means after, hopefully, it has gone lower. You could actually cover at a higher price too. That's obviously you losing money in that case. So just some of the basics here. How does the broker factor in? So when you short a stock, you, the investor, you have to post margin of 50% basically, since there's really no exchange of money here. So yeah, so even though when you sell short a stock, there is no exchange of money to do that. You have to have enough capital in your account in order to even place a trade. So if you lose money in your short trade, the broker still needs his or her money. The broker holds your money in collateral in case the stock rises going against what you had hoped would happen. And if you don't have enough cash in your account, you will get a margin call. So these are just some of the downfalls that you do have to think about when, going into short trades. Here's one more other bit of information. So if the stock you are shorting pays a dividend, you will actually have to pay the broker that dividend. So when you're going long on a trade, for instance, you get the dividend, but when you're shorting a stock, you actually have to pay the dividend. Interest rates on value of stock you borrowed could be somewhere between 2 and 20%, depending on the demand for those shares, maybe even more. There's also hard to borrow fees as well. There's a big range for hard to borrow fees, again, depending on demand. This rarely happens, but you can actually, the broker can actually close your position at any time to get the shares back that you borrowed. He or she may have to return them to an original portfolio. Like I said, I don't think that happens very often. Maybe TJ can step in and see if that's ever happened to him. It's never happened to me, but it does happen. You could get stuck in a short squeeze. And even the most seasoned investors, they got stuck in a short squeeze. GME, ANC are, exactly the types of stocks that this happened to. So when buying pressure comes in, the Wall Street bets people came in with buying pressure to squeeze these shorts. They looked at the short interest, on the stocks, and they found that, it was high short interest. And so they kind of exploited, an opportunity basically. So anyways, you do have to recognize some of these things before actually getting into short positions. So let's see. So, if you overlook the downfalls, sometimes an opportunity will arise. And today we will focus on those opportunities. Here are my 10 technical analysis strategies for shorting. Now, we're going to go through some of these, not all of them. But if you can combine multiple strategies on this list, that would be most helpful. So number one thing that I look for is a break of support. And we will go, like I said, go through some examples of what break of support is. Double top, triple top. I definitely have some examples of that. Those are my favorite shorting opportunities. Clear rejection at resistance. That's also a favorite one. I try to look for rejection. Rejection is basically you're looking at candles, either intraday or daily or even weekly rejection at resistance. This one's fun too. You can spot a breakout happening, but then it turns into a fake out with no volume. So a breakout then turns into a fake out and it has no volume, and that's a perfect short opportunity as well. It's fun to recognize those as well. Establish a trend line rejection. That happens quite often. Candles give a lot of clues. So some of my favorite candles are like the tweezer top candles. So and then confirmation candles too. We'll go through that as well, kind of if we look at intraday charts. Fib levels, that's another one I'd like to go over. So let's say you took a short at a really good technical level. And then you want to know kind of where it's likely going to drop to. The fib levels will really help you with that. Fib levels help in other ways as well. Let's see, on a downtrend and within a defined channel. So when we had a big drop on SPY during the COVID situation, it was definitely creating a downtrend, and there was a lot of shorting opportunities in a defined channel of a downtrend. And I think we're going to have more opportunities when eventually this whole thing comes down. So once you start to develop a downtrend, a defined channel, then you can actually short within that channel. And that's really fun to do as well. Okay, when a stock reaches a certain standard deviation or a previous high RSI. So, you know, that's just, you know, it's going to revert back to the mean basically at some point. Now, I wouldn't necessarily do that with the SPY right now, but when certain stocks get up to certain standard deviations, you can look at shorting as well. But I think if you combine some of these other things as well, and not just a standard deviation or not just a high RSI, you're going to have a higher success rate. And earning plays. This is one I'm going to show you probably a lot of examples of, because I do play earnings. And yeah, it's kind of fun for me to watch as something reaches like a triple top, for instance. I think one of my first ones we're going to go over today is SQ, and that was one I just recently took. So let's look at some examples of these strategies. I'm pulling up Thinkorswim. I think somebody goofed up here. It's not Sinkorswim, it's Thinkorswim chart. Here we go. I'm going to pull up SQ as my first one. So here is the chart of SQ. I did take a small short on this one. I think it was only 5%, but it worked out. As you can see, this is a triple top. I'm going to zoom in here. As you can see, this is a triple top here, and this was earnings. They actually did pretty well on earnings. So let's see, I'm on the weekly chart right now. I'm going to actually switch to the daily. Here we go. All right, I'm zooming in here. Can you guys all see this? Okay. I'm hoping you guys can see this. I'm not hearing any feedback from anyone. All right, so here was the earnings play. I think it popped above, I think it got to 280. I took the trade, the short, right at, I think it was 278.50 or something like that, right in this zone. And then it went against me a couple dollars. I did go to 280. And, you know, that's okay, because the risk to reward on a triple top here was pretty good. So it did retrace. I did use fibs, but there was also this line here. I did use fibs to figure out where this retracement would be. And it was about 50% of this candle here. This move here. So I think I got out of this trade at 262. And then when I started seeing this, and I think it got down to 261, it looks like. Anyway, I started seeing this buying coming in, you can see the volume here starting to come in after, you know, this pullback here. So I did take this one just recently. I saw it hit this trend line and see the volume coming in, so I got out of my trade. But anyway, then this popped back over, and now it seems to be breaking this trend line again. So this could be a good short in the future. And we do see this on lower volume, you know, but who knows? It is a good idea to kind of keep an eye on this RSI too. If it bounces kind of off this 51 level and then heads back up, this could actually be, you know, a nice long trade as well. Anyway, so that's one of the trades I recently took. It was only for a small gain. But you can kind of see how I did that. And if we look at it intraday too, I think I would like to do that too. Let's see, it was this day. So here was earnings. Earnings came out and it popped all the way up to the triple top here. We remember back on the last chart that this was a triple top. And so again, I got in, like, I think it was like, I kind of watched it. And I ended up getting it like, I think it was like 278. And then again, it popped against me here. And I saw the wiki candle forming on the 1 hour chart. And what's best to do a lot of times is wait for the confirmation candle, which is usually the candle after this one. So it'll get you best into the trade. And I didn't follow my own advice, but I did get in here and I got, you know, squeezed a tiny bit and then it kind of came down. But anyways, this would have been a better candle to get in on this trade. So I kind of took it down from 178. Like I did, I put the fib levels on here, and it turned out that this area right in here was, I think I got out this day, the next day at this 262 or something like that. I started seeing this candle forming and buying pressure. Anyway, so that was a small trade, but you can kind of see how the candles help me out there. Okay, so next one is, let's go to Toll. This was another one I took, Toll Brothers. I'm going to go to the daily chart. This is where I took it here. I took the trade. This was another earnings play. I do occasionally like playing earnings. Let's see, it popped up. Let's see. Okay, so the earnings were good. So it did pop up on earnings. But then what I started seeing is this was a high over here, the 68.88. And I noticed there was a gap here. The gap does act as resistance. I know I taught another class on gap fills, but this one didn't fill the gap here. So it does act as resistance. It also acts as support if it gets above this line. So I started seeing the toppiness forming here on this particular opportunity. So what had happened is I think I took this short somewhere in here because I knew it wasn't getting up back into the 68 levels because of the rejection I was seeing here. So I took the short somewhere in here. So I was watching for that rejection. That's something you really have to pay attention to. If there's a lot of volume going up, you know, with these candles, you're not going to get a rejection. You're going to see, you know, big green candles forming. But these were actually some kind of toppy candles forming. So I ended up taking the short here. And then I actually kept the short for several days. And and if you kind of see, there is a trend line right here. I'll zoom out a little bit. Let me go back to the weekly chart, and I'll switch back to the daily. So as you can see on the weekly chart here, there is a nice trend line on tall where it hits one, twice, and then it hadn't, obviously when I took the short, it hadn't hit here yet. So I figured it would possibly get to this level. So I did take the short from about this candle here. Oh, I have to put my line back on, sorry. There we go. So from this candle here, you know, it wasn't that low. I think it was probably, I think I got out about 13%. So I didn't go all the way down to the trend line. But it was this, like one of these two red candles I got out on. But you kind of look for these opportunities. You draw your trend lines, and then you kind of, you know, try drawing it on the weekly chart and then draw it on the daily chart as well. So anyways, this is one of the shorts I took. And here I probably had to pay the dividend here too. So that's okay. It was a really nice gainer on that one. So let's see what other ones. Let's see. All right. All right. So this is Bumble on the daily chart. You can kind of see, sorry about my lines, they're not exactly the best here and they're kind of all over the place, but you can kind of see where I put my white ovals, that this was an established support here from all these different price levels. And then this support turned into kind of resistance down here. And then there was a big drop. And this is where I took a short here on Bumble. I've already closed out of it somewhere right at this support level here. So you can also do this with support and resistance, which is really helpful to, you know, look at where established trend lines are. And that's what I saw here. This was already been established. And then I just kind of drew a purple line and I said, okay, let's look at these right here. These two are almost like a tweezer top, pretty close to it anyways. This was a nice confirmation candle. Let's zoom in a little bit more here. If you kind of look at this right here, this candle was obviously more bullish than this candle. This candle had a lot more sellers coming in. And that was telling me, and you can look at the volume too. The volume was showing, you know, like 3/4 of them were sellers. So it's a confirmation when you have a nice big run up here, you hit a level of resistance, an established level of resistance here at this purple dotted trend line that I created. And then you get this confirmation candle with, you know, a lot of volume, of selling volume. And then you kind of watch the RSI come down as well, you know, so you're in, you know, a trade that is confirmed. I think I got out somewhere around this. I think there was, yeah, this is a nice support line here. So I kind of do use my support and resistance. Now you could have come down here. Now this is an established trend line as well, going back a ways. But I actually just got out here. It was just, it made more sense. Maybe because I saw more buying coming in. So you start looking at some of these candles here, you see, look, there's quite a bit, there's a ton of selling coming in here. And then here there's half selling, basically half buying. And then here, this candle is kind of telling you, you better get out of that trade because there's a lot more buyers coming in. So So it just depends on where you want to get out of the trade. You may want to stick it out for a little while long based on fundamentals or whatever else. But this is kind of what I kind of decided to do with that trade. Okay, so I'm going to cross these off as I'm going through them. All right. Oh, here. This was an interesting one. This one doesn't have a lot of. This is UTSL. I like playing utilities. And if you look on the weekly chart, so I bought this at like $29, and I did get out. I did not actually take the short. Okay, and this is I was eyeing it to take a short actually, because I see here a triple top now on the weekly chart. So there's 1, 2, 3. I did, like I said, I bought in here somewhere in the $29 range here, and I rode this up to 34.30. I got out 34.30. I was potentially going to consider reversing the trade here. The reason why I did not reverse the trade is because, number one, I didn't get any confirmation candles. Yes, it was a triple top. There was a top, there's top here, and then the top here. I was thinking about it on the day that I got out at 34.30. However, this was a lot more buying coming in, and this could actually be a flat top breakout as well, and maybe not a triple top where a bearish triple top. So you can kind of see the pattern of like a flat top breakout. So I originally had a sell order on this at $39, hoping that this would break out, but I don't know if that is the case. There is another trend line coming right up in here too, which might, cause a little bit more resistance right up in here. Anyway, I didn't want to risk it, so I got out. This could be a nice selling opportunity for it to come back down to this trend line. And then eventually I do think utilities will really take off later this year. So now this is a 3-time ETF. I don't recommend anybody play this. That's definitely a beginner, because if utilities moves, a small amount, this is actually going to move 3 times that amount. So it's something you have to be really up on in order to trade this ticker. Anyway, let's see what else I have here. So that was my utilities trade, and it's and it's good to recognize when you should not take a short too, when you start seeing the bullish candles coming through, even though you have a triple top. All right. Let's see. Gold was another one. Okay, let's go. Let's decrease this. Okay, I really like to show this example, not because I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so what I look for a lot of times when I'm shorting is candles that have a lot of wicks, top wicks, not bottom wicks, but like a lot of top wicks. Top wicks tell me that a lot of, selling pressure is coming in. So you can kind of see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 candles with top wicks. That's usually a really good indicator that you're going to see some selling pressure, even if it goes sideways for a little while. So I think I took a gold short here. I think I kind of got out half my position here on this big green candle, rolled the rest half down, I don't know if I actually got all the way down here, but I actually probably got out as it broke my trend line here. So, you know, you kind of have to draw a channel coming down with a lot of these shorts. And if it's staying within your channel, you're all good. And then when it actually does break out of the channel, you can see my red channel here. When it breaks out, you know, that might be a time for you to get out. You may want to stick with it longer and just draw another channel kind of coming down, you know, and see. But I think I had actually gotten out here. But yeah, that was also a really nice short to recognize when you start seeing a lot of upper wick candles. And you can read on your own about the you know, types of candles that are bearish. I would highly recommend doing that. So I'm going to the daily chart here. Oh, that's maybe I need to go back a little bit longer. Let's see. I can't remember exactly when I actually got in that one, but anyways, the weekly is sometimes nice to look at. I might just go on to the next one. Cross that one off. This one, a lot of people are trading. All right, I'm going to go to the weekly chart on this too first. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to get rid of some of these. Remove drawing. Sorry, some of these. Okay. So I have created a purple channel for SPCE. As you can kind of see here, it's established trend line. So I think I took a short here so two points make an established trend line, and I love looking at the trend on a longer perspective. So from a longer perspective, we had 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit of this trend line, and then I was able to draw this purple dotted line after the hit, the 2 hits here. So you have 3 hits make a line, or 2 hits actually make a line. And then same with the bottom. There was a hit here, hit here, hit here, hit here. This was a kind of an outlier. Hit here, hit here. So this actually might be a good buying opportunity coming into into the next coming weeks. I do have some levels here to watch. This 2120 and this level here, of course, 1665 to watch. This could keep coming down as a kind of a bear flag, and we could actually see these lower levels, and this trend may be invalidated at this point. But you know, when it does actually head back up here, eventually, you may have some opportunities along this trend line, which, you know, even if it came even from right here to all-time highs again, let's look at what those opportunities would be. So that's like 140 or 135% just from this trend line up back to all-time highs, or at least along the trend line. But if it actually does come down here, which it does actually look like it is doing, there was a rejection here. You can kind of see this was a triple, or like a tweezer top here, got rejected, kind of came down. It does actually look like this is a bear flag. So I'm going to activate this real quick. So we actually have this is the flagpole of the bear flag that it may be forming, and we may actually see a completion of a pattern, which would be, the flagpole down back to, this level down here. This like probably 1665 would probably be pretty close. So I am watching this. I have not taken a long position yet, but I am looking at the opportunity to take possibly a long somewhere in here, and then of course maybe short up here along this top purple dotted trend line. So it's just some technical analysis that I've kind of put together. And one of the other things I'm going to say is that I really do like taking shorts or even long positions at gap fills. And here is a gap fill too, right here. There's a really quite a nice gap. And that's why I have the 2120. This will act as support if it does come down to 2120. Like I'm waiting for this position, this potential long position. And then you can actually watch the candles and watch to see if they are becoming more bullish at the support or at the gap fill. And then you can watch for the momentum to come in. And, as it comes back, as price action comes back up, you're going to likely run back into this purple dotted trend line as a resistance, which might get rejected. And actually getting over this would be a good place to take a long position after it's already come down, and then, come back up, find this as support, and then make the move up. You still have, a huge gain, but you don't have to worry about all the overhead resistance getting there. So maybe even waiting above till it gets above the purple trend line might actually be a better trade than trying to take it down here. Anyway, that's another one I was looking at as far as some price action support, some resistance, and I did take a short here. And I didn't take it all the way down because, you get these big run ups and then the down. So I think I took the short from like 56. Once I started seeing these candles down to, I think, 44 on this particular one. Now you can keep going, but sometimes you just want your money to get out, at this point. So another one looking at. All right, let's look on the daily chart for Posh. I did get in Posh, and I did mention this to a lot of people, in the trading chat. I got in here as a long position, but I do see, this might be an area too short, or there might be a breakout here too. So, you could watch for a fake out breakout. Here was a fake out, kind of instead of like, this trend line was being established here, established, so many different hits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits. And then it broke out, but it was kind of a fake out. And then you can kind of look at like this candle right here is telling you the story, because look at all the selling volume here. The selling volume told me that, I mean, I didn't take this trade, but the selling volume kind of told, the buyers and the sellers that, this was likely a fake out, and you would probably see a drop at this point, just looking at volume. And so you could take this down, make a few dollars with that short. Again, it gets rejected at a trend line. We talked about that, rejection at a trend line. You're staying your short, comes down, rejection at a trend line. No, it didn't get rejected here. It actually popped above. But then you can decide to stay in here or not. Again, this is like a resistance level from this previous candle. It kind of got rejected here. So once you see the rejection at, when you have a previous candle at the same price level, get rejected, you can stay in the trade and continue it down. Now, again, this is definitely an established support down here. You can see it's hit multiple times. So at this point, you kind of want to get out of your trade. So that's why I decided to actually get in my trade for a long position here. But I'm just talking you through, like, if you were to short, kind of with a breakout, with a fake out of a trend line, that's kind of one way to do it. Anyway, so I'm here. I'm in this trade. I think at 27.70. I think I got in 27.70. I think I posted that in trading chat. So we'll kind of see, but I'm hoping that we'll get up to, like, 33 on that trade. Okay. Let's see. What have I gone over already? CRSR. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, so now we're in this channel. This is a really, really established channel at this point. Doesn't mean it can't get out of this channel, but we see, I'm just gonna highlight which channel I'm talking about here with purple dotted lines here. Sorry, I do have a lot of lines on this one. The lines actually come in different time frames. But as far as this one goes, we do have kind of an established time, starting here up at the 51.37. Kind of these are the two that established this trend line. This would have been a great shorting opportunity here, because you have an established trend line already. So you've had 3 points here. You could very well short confidently here, even though it kind of broke above it. This would have been, good risk to reward trade. So let's say you shorted at the trend line of $41, and it did go up to $43. That's not so bad of a risk to reward, because, this has been an established channel for many weeks now. So you do want to look for the most established trend lines you can, or the most established channels you can, for the best shorting opportunities. So here we are, came down. I think I'm in this as a long trade at this point, somewhere along this channel. And, I'm hoping it doesn't keep breaking down. But yeah, I'm looking to probably take profits up here along this purple trend line, or hoping it breaks out at that point. So, I just play channels a lot of times. You just kind of indicate where your channels are, get the established channels going, with your trend lines, and then play the channels, buy here, sell here, buy here. It's just, you can just keep going with these a lot of times, or until the breakout happens or the breakdown happens. And that's another way you can get out of your trade too. This has been so established, and if we start seeing a breakdown, get the heck out. And it gives you an easy place to put your stop too. Again, here too, with shorting, you do want to use stops, because the trade can go against you quite bad. So anyway, and then you can also look for the RSI here. You can see the RSI was being used. This line was being used as support on the RSI on the daily. Support, 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 and then you know, kind of broke down. So this is where it really became bearish too. This is more of a confirmation that to stay in your trade, if you did short it, if you did take the short at the trend line, you can see here, I'm going to put my oval right here. You can see right here as it crossed the support, it kind of then is now hitting kind of this lower, what, 28, 28, 28, 29 RSI, you know, kind of looking bearish, I'd have to say. But that doesn't mean, you know, we can't come off this and make a nice run up, and then actually use this line as resistance on the way back up. So like somewhere in here, I don't know. Anyway, so I am in this long, again, just using established channels and playing the channel. That's sometimes fun how, you know, you can take longs and shorts along a channel. Let's see. I am coming up on almost an hour here. I think, oh yeah, I had another one here. I don't think I did show you this one yet. S-Fix. Okay, I don't know. I don't think I went through this one just now, but I've gone through so many here already. Okay, so I took this short, and I got out already. So let me zoom in a little bit. This was a really nice short. And I use multiple strategies here, really multiple strategies. I'm going to go through them all. You know, I was watching this kind of run up, and this is an earnings play, number one. You know, they did okay on earnings, not great, but okay. And I looked at the RSI as it was kind of coming up into earnings on the daily chart we're at, and it was, you know, overextended here. And I don't know if you can see, but it also filled my gap. Look, almost to the penny. A gap filled to the penny. So this was a big gap up, or sorry, gap down. And this price action ran right up to the gap. And I had this purple trend line on here with some alerts. You know, when I took that short, I definitely had alerts here because this was something I was really watching. You know, I'm really big into gap fills, as you probably, you know, have watched my other videos. So as it kind of came up to fill the gap, I started seeing the candles forming, and I don't always, you know, sell right at the candle that fills the gap. The best thing to do, in my opinion, is to wait for a confirmation candle. This was it right here. This next day candle was the confirmation candle. Why is it a confirmation candle? Because it's bearish compared to this one. This is a doji candle that says, you know, there's a lot of people or traders that are in indecision. That's what this candle tells me right here. The doji on 6/8/21. That's what this one tells me. It tells me that everybody's in indecision here. They don't know if there's a lot, you know, going for momentum going forward. Then I also considered the RSI on that candle was well overextended. There were some, you know, selling signals going on, even though it gapped up. The confirmation candle was almost like I don't want to say double tap. It really wasn't a double tap, but this was an established level of resistance that was on my chart for a long time. You know, I was just waiting for that. Took the short with the confirmation candle this day. and just rode this thing down. I just kept riding it down. Could still actually be in it, but I'm not. I think I got out somewhere in the 50s, the low 50s. But anyways, this was a really nice trade. And you just have to, kind of keep an eye on it daily. I mean, there could be news that comes out. What I do is I just kind of set my stop loss above break even, right above break even. And I just watch this thing run down, and then, get out when you feel most confident. I think I was seeing some of these sideways candles in here, forming kind of this support here. I don't know if I got to change back to the lines. I think I got out around here. Before I started, I mean, I didn't stick around for this big down drop, but you could have. Anyway, it's kind of forming a little bit of a inverse head and shoulders, and I didn't want to stick around for a potential run back up. So anyway, that was a nice trade I took there. All right, let's see. I guess I should go over, everybody knows what a short squeeze is probably. I wanted to look up Kroger. All right, this one I had on my watch list here. So let's go to the weekly chart on Kroger. Kroger is showing, now this is kind of giving me some mixed signals here. These look like pretty bullish candles. I'm watching this still, but I'm considering taking a short on this. We have, potential double top here on the weekly and even on the daily, so this at this like 43 level here. So it's definitely something on my, I had a buy order on here, get rid of that one. So it's definitely something that I'm watching here on this level for taking a potential short back down to, this established trend line. Okay, so we have, we have multiple hits here. Okay, there's multiple trend lines here, but here's another established hit here. So you kind of have this kind of, I'm going to change it to purple again so you guys can kind of see it a little bit better. So I'm kind of looking to possibly take a short here. Back to this trend line. I would like to see that. We may see this is something that I could actually see because we do have an established support here. Anyway, I'm going to be watching this in the coming days. I'm going to go back to the daily chart. So what I'm going to look for on these candles to decide if I am going to take this short is to watch how these candles start forming next week. This does seem to be like the high. This does seem to be a confirmation, a potential confirmation candle, because it made a slightly lower high, lower high, lower high. I might give it a couple more days because there's, this might push back up. And it also, there is another line here of resistance that I put in here that seems to be holding. It did pop up, but then there was sellers coming in here. That's what this big wicky candle is. A lot of sellers coming in. So it seems to be holding below my trend line, holding as resistance. So I could see this kind of coming down. I'm going to give it another couple days just to see what happens kind of in this price range here. But I would very likely take this short again, you pay the dividend. You know, if you do look here, we do have pretty high RSI, We do have a little divergence happening. So that's obviously a good thing too. I think that's bearish divergence, small amount of bearish divergence. So, I'm going to keep an eye on this one as well as for a potential short. I think I know we're going now over an hour. So I'm going to go to VIX because this is probably one of my favorite charts. And I'm going to show you some of the levels I'm looking at. And some of the, I didn't take the short because I don't really short the VIX. You could, obviously. All right. I took the VIX long, and you can kind of see, I don't know exactly where, probably somewhere in this area. I took VIX long, and this was where I got out. You could actually, what was I going to say? I had established trend lines from, if you go back to the weekly, you can kind of see established here, established here, established here, established here. And so when I think I had VIX calls somewhere in here. When I hit this trend line, I got VIX calls. I got out here. This was my exit. And then this was the interesting thing. I'm going to go back to the daily. Okay, here's an established trend line on VIX. When it breaks a trend line, this is another way to determine if you can take a short or not. I'm going to just remove my lines here. Okay, again, let me put the oval drawings on here. We have an established trend line, established trend line, established trend line. Even, after these first three, you can start drawing a trend line on the VIX. And then this was obviously an established trend area. And then here's where it broke down. Here's where, everything started going really bullish on the SPY. We just like breaking out, new level, brand new level, brand new high, brand new high, brand new high on the SPY. And so what I think is actually happening here, besides it breaking a trend line, an established trend line, is that we are coming down to fill like one of the final gaps below. I do have to go back several years, I think, 2 years, to show these gaps. And I have alerts set. Let's go back right here. I'm going to zoom in. I think these are the areas to watch on the VIX. I have it marked here. It's a small gap, but it is a gap. There is a gap right here between this candle and this candle. I don't know if this will fill. I don't know. But, if you are short the VIX, you could be waiting. I think the SPY could actually go up. It's looking very bullish day by day, week by week. We are in a complete bubble. I would not doubt that this gap get filled, but this might be a really good place to go long right here. I just have it marked at $12.27. I mean, that's not the exact gap fill, but I always like to, get it before the full gap fill. Anyway, so this is back on January 17th, 2020, this candle. So anyway, let's go back to where we are now. We're at somewhere in the 15, 16 range. Let me see. I better zoom out a little or zoom up in a little bit. Oh, let's see. Sorry about this. So we're kind of down here, and it does look like this trend line has been invalidated or it's been broken. So when you have a broken trend line, you can continue shorting until you reach another support, which I have. I'm going to show you this. So I do have some support levels here. There's one here. There's an established support at like 14, 13, and then this 1227 here. So I'm kind of waiting for this to come down further even. If I see a 14, 13 on the VIX, I wouldn't be surprised with how the bullish action we're getting. So anyway, that's just something I'm looking at. These are some levels I'm going to keep an eye on. These 3 levels here. It just broke this support. This is the next one. I'm sure I had an alert that went off here that said this was being broken. That now I'm waiting for 1413 to be broken, and then I'm gonna wait for 1227 to be broken. And this might be a good long position here. This is very optimistic, of course. This may not happen, but I am hoping to see a gap fill.
I like that. I'm actually long biased on VIX, so
Right now you are.
down to, I mean, it can go lower, like you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
It does go lower, I don't mind. But yeah, I want to see it over 24s again.
What do you think about this breaking this trend line here? That was definitely bearish though. And did you get long bias here at the support?
Yeah, because I trade VIX futures, so
Right.
pretty much,
Where did
I'm looking
where
at
did
the
you
September contracts, and I'm like, okay, what is my risk? My risk is like $2, and reward wise, it's like up $6 plus. So I started accumulating, on Friday,
Okay.
and planning to just add on to it a bit more.
Great. Yeah, this is an established support, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's a kind of a no-brainer, right? Because it's right here. But I do think the way the market's been so bullish, I think we'll, keep dropping. I took this long position here. I got out right I got out 24s. 24s. I didn't wait for the whole 25, but that was a nice trade. But then when I saw this breakdown, I was going to take it right there. You see that?
Yeah. Laura, did we lose you?
Laura, are you still with us?
All right, we might have lost her, but we
Yeah.
can start our Q&A session.
All right, sweet. So I guess TJ, we'll wait till Laura comes back if she connects. In the meantime, we'll look at the Q&A, and I guess you'll be answering the questions if that works for you.
Yeah, that works.
Perfect. All right, so let's see here. So if you guys want to post any questions you had during Laura's presentation, feel free. Any questions at all that you had during her lesson about shorting? All
So
right, so
while we
sorry, go ahead,
wait,
TJ.
So my shorting strategy is a little bit different. I look for like really overextended moves, and I like shorting those moves because it gives me like the best like risk to reward. So I wait for something that's might be good, but and the stock obviously went up. So let's say there's a stock like UPSD, really good earnings. It's amazing, but it gapped up so much that it doesn't really match the fundamental element of it, and it's gone or exceeded over, what our expectations were. Those are the trades I like to take. So like 3 to 5 sigma moves is what I look for. So like, just like 3 to 5 standard deviation moves. And I like to short those pops because that usually gives me pretty good, dollar per share gains. All right, we have Laura back. So you
Yeah,
can.
sorry about that. I had a lost connection. I think I'm using my iPhone connection now because my internet went out. Great. Oh, I heard you talking about UPST. I'd love to pull that one up.
Oh yeah,
Um,
you can
I don't
go
know if
ahead
you.
and screen share now.
Okay. Oh, I have to go to screen share. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Laura, while you're doing that, we actually had 2 questions for you. One of the questions
Oh,
was, what volume study were you using earlier before? And where can Zhang the Great download that for
oh, you're
swim?
gonna have to talk to TJ about that. 'Cause
Yeah, that's like
this
the
is this is
UT setup, but
United Trader.
as soon as the website is up, we're gonna be like releasing it to team members.
Awesome, perfect. Thank you, TJ.
As you can
And
see down here,
oh, sorry,
yeah,
go ahead,
you're
Laura.
down here at the bottom. It says, oh, sorry, it says, maybe it's not on this one, but yeah, it'll say it says United Traders. So,
All right, perfect. Got it. And would you play for reversals once you hit that established support hits? And that comes from Lou A.
yeah, that's actually a really good idea. Sometimes, like here's an example, UPST. We were talking about this in chat this past week. So these are great, reversal areas. Once you get like supports hit of established, I mean, everybody's playing these. So there's a lot of volume on these trades here. I mean, you have these established, trend lines. You have these, channels. Look, we still have, according to what I see here, I had this white trend line coming across here. Oh, I was thinking, oh, double top, right? Triple top. No, that didn't work out. Didn't work out very well here, because this was a very bullish candle here. So even though these were all really toppy candles, this looks more like a nice shorting opportunity here for UPST. Do you see the difference in this candle, these candles, and like these candles? There is quite a bit of difference. Like this looks to me like, with the volume coming in, look at all this selling volume. This looks to me like a better risk to reward shorting opportunity here. But this is the established trend line from here, right? This is the established trend line. So you got 2 points here, and then the third point is up here. Let me see if I can draw this down a little bit. Here we go. Yeah. So now I see next week good shorting opportunity in this like 220 area here. Like, I don't know if you guys talked about this one already, but 220 looks actually really nice. I have this, already kind of, channeled out here. I'm probably going to take this. Do we take it all the way down here? Not necessarily. I mean, this is a really bullish stock. I mean, we could take it back down to the white trend line, and that's still a pretty good risk to reward trade. So let's look at that, what the percentage is if we did take it from, 220. Let's go 220, 221, kind of right here, back down to this even. was that 17, 18%. That's not a bad trade. Again, you have an established support here that it could very well bounce off of after it fills this gap. Again, there is a gap here to fill. So if it comes to this trend line, 220, gap fill, there is another gap below. It could come down to this gap, which would, you know, kind of put you right into the confluence of maybe the support here and a gap fill and a trend line channel. So, I mean, this is definitely on my radar. And so one of the things you really need to do, which I don't even have, which is silly, I want to know when we start seeing levels about this team, I'm going to start considering getting into a short up here. Look at how overextended this RSI is, but you know, look at all this buying. So you just have to be, you know, aware this could pop above this trend line too, keep going. So just kind of watch the candles, watch the, you know, the hourly, daily candles for, you know, giving you that opportunity. All right, I'm done with this. Any other ones that we want to talk about?
Absolutely. So there's a couple more questions on the YouTube chat, but a couple of good questions would be, I'm sure the viewers at home will want to know, Laura, would be, can you tell us about where you place your stops usually, and what's your profit target? And do you wait until the trade hits your profit target?
Okay, what would be like on this trade, for instance, would be my stop level? That is a good question. I mean, depends on what, you know, what your risk to reward is. So let's say it does get to 220. We see 220 to, you know, 180. You have to think about how much of a drop that is. I mean, it could go more than that, but I could definitely see a bounce here at 180. So I don't know. I mean, I would probably put it like maybe $3 or $4 above. You kind of got to watch what you got to kind of think like a market maker actually when you put your stops, because market makers like to, you know, go and hit the stops. So you have to go kind of above what you think where the market makers would be, you know. I mean, that's what I do anyways. I mean, I have a pretty higher risk tolerance than a lot of people because I think the trade's going to work out eventually. So I you know, I don't want to suggest people do this, but yeah, a lot of times, you know, I'll put a much larger range because I don't like getting stopped out and losing money. That's just me. So
No, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense.
I don't want to give advice on stops to beginner traders, to be honest, because I wouldn't use my stop strategy. You know, if you're a beginner trader, I'd be probably doing tighter stops, especially if you're unsure about your technical analysis.
Right.
And take smaller share size, I would say. And then you can maybe, you know, give yourself a wider range of stops. So anyway, that's my advice.
Makes sense. So you tweak it based on your experience level, and
Yeah,
it's a case by case basis.
yeah, tweak it on your experience level. Follow the rules. I would say just follow the rules.
Absolutely.
Standard rules.
So I think we have time for one or two more questions. So let's go with, here we go. What would be the signs to get into a short position if the market would recorrect, is what we got from Cody Trudell.
Well, that's such a good question. I just explained that though with the VIX. You know, if you go through listening to what I said, go through, rewind the VIX, where I was talking to you about the VIX. those price levels, that trend line that I had, that blue trend line, draw that on your chart, put alerts on there. That trend line is pretty significant. So what would we see if the correction is happening? I don't even want to really pull up my SPY chart because there's so many lines, but I'll pull up SPX. Again, look for toppy candles. This is what I did here. This is where I took my VIX trade here. I'm showing you. Look, there was an established trend line here, this white established trend line, this white dotted trend line, and it's hitting the trend line. I took the VIX trade here. I got squeezed a little bit. It did come down. I stayed in it. I stayed in that VIX trade because it did not hit my upper trend line on the VIX chart. This is SPX. Here, I think I added to my position. Look at this. This is key. This is my 2 tweezer top candles. I love this. When I see tweezer tops, this makes me very excited about taking a short or taking, again, in this case, the VIX long. When I saw this, added to my position, came down, and this is about where I exited my, VIX call here. Again, this is kind of an established trend line here on SPX. We got a hit here, a hit here, and it went down below. Oh, shoot, what did I do? Okay. Anyway, it kind of went down below it here. But anyways, this was a really nice trade. I did not take a VIX short, could have, but I think we're getting probably to the point. We haven't hit my 2 trend lines yet, but I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. These are 2 really established trend lines, and I think they're pretty good. I think we can get up to, 4,500 before we see another downturn in this market. That is just my guess. We gapped up the last trading day. I do see this area, like up here, as being, more of a place I would consider taking like a VIX long. But again, we are in this trend line. We're in this channel here. You can see it's pretty established. I mean, I don't know, but I'd say this is going to be more bullish for quite a bit longer. But I could be wrong, of course. We can come down here. Hasn't hit my channel yet, but you can kind of see it has hit these 2 channels. These 2 trend lines, blue and white, quite a bit. Very established all the way. So, but right now I think we're in a really, really bullish pattern. So anyway.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Laura. I think we've pretty much covered most of the questions. A lot of the other questions are just reformed questions from other people. So I think that's pretty much all the time we have. Thank you so much, Laura, for covering this lesson. I really appreciate it. UT is absolutely grateful for someone such as yourself for providing us this lesson. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate that you guys tuned in, watched Laura's lesson today. Definitely, if you can, share as much as you can our content so that we can have our engagement out there, continue our lessons, and have a plethora of more content to offer you guys. So thank you so much, everyone. TJ, Laura, did you have anything to add?
No, I don't think so. I think I was really happy to do it, and happy to do more. I think this is the timing of this was pretty important for me to kind of do it, July, August, because we are eventually going to see, shorting opportunities in this market. I would say watch for daily and weekly candles on the SPX. So yeah, I mean, you're going to see it, and there's going to be a lot of buyers coming in at, lower level supports because they just want this to keep going up. And this could be like, the biggest bubble we've ever seen. But, eventually this will come down, and I'm going to be there with bells on. So anyway, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to do this.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Laura. I think that is it. That's the time that we have. And again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and see you again in the next lesson. Appreciate everyone. Take care, Laura. Take care, TJ. And